Welcome back to Cliffside for another casted game. On the east side of the cliffs today, we have Tent in the orange as the Malians who are going out to put up their first pit. And on the west side in the pink, we have Eric SF as the Abbasid Dynasty. And Eric sent this one over to me and told me it was a real nail biter, and so I couldn't wait to check this out. Remember, if you want to be awesome like Eric, then all you got to do is comment on any of the casted videos, tell me your game, tell me your in-game name, and I will add it to the casted list. So whether you are Diamond Conqueror like these guys, whether you are Gold, Silver, Bronze, anything in the middle, we are happy to see it on the channel, and I love watching all of these games. So let's take a little look at the scouting path for both of these players and see where they are going. So Tent's gone straight over across the middle, trying to get some of the contested sheep and then going around the back side. So this potentially could work out depending on where Eric sent his scout. Both of these guys on one scout, which is pretty standard in this matchup. So he's got 3 so far, and he's going to be pulling up here across past the market where you often find most of the sheep. So if we take away the fog of war here, you should see that there's going to be a load of sheep over by the market. So this is always a really hot spot to hit, whereas right in these bottom corners you don't tend to see a huge amount. So you'll often notice higher level players skipping around the corners. If we take a look over onto Eric's side, if we follow his scout, so he seems to have done pretty well. He's also gone basically the same scout, so now he's actually going to be covering the same point, and I think this maybe he's just missed. So if we head over here to the Fog of War and we go over, so the deer packs and stuff are there, and where are those market sheep? So there we go. There's always, see, there's 4 around this market now, 5 actually, so 6. So just, this is where personally I always make sure I go diagonally straight across and make sure I cover this area around both of these markets, because it's such a huge amount of sheep that spawn there for the whole map. If you can get that and then you can get some of the other ones, then you're in a really good spot. So we can see the pit mine for Tent is fully set up now, and he's going to be making his way to the feudal age, and I imagine we're going to be seeing the Mansa-Kori coming up any second now. Taking a look over at Eric's side, we are going to be able to see his wing. He's gone for the military wing, which I think in this matchup is actually a very good move. Against the Malians, you have to make sure they don't get themselves set up super early, because the longer you leave them, once they get those pits up, once they get that cow boom, then you're going to be in real trouble. And we've got 4 in the Mansa-Kori, and just down by the TC, standard Malian stuff. And this map in particular also got a buff in the recent patch, where I say a buff, the spawn meant that the pits weren't blocked by the cliffs, so these should actually allow for pits to be put down, although it's not exactly the best position because you can't fully surround it by houses. But there should be enough gold spawns around. But looking at this one, there is a back gold over here, so this is going to be a really nice one. But all of the other golds are actually going to be in quite contestable positions, so Eric should be able to push on those, and that's going to really slow down Tent with his pit and cow boom. We can already see 1 mill going down. We're probably going to see another mill in a second, as you see with the classic cow boom, double mills and then printing those cows out. If we take a little look over, we can see a little pink dot, so we can see a villager coming up and going back. Okay then, so I thought that villager was going to be doing something in particular, but he just got misclicked over there, so we'll pretend we didn't see that, Eric. Don't you worry about it. Let's take a look at the rally point. So he's coming forward, and I imagine these military units are going to be straight over there. We go, we saw the rally point changing there. He's going to be straight over here to try and put some pressure on this pit. You want to find the first one, and then you want to deny the second one. That's always the plan. Fresh foodstuffs being put straight into queue. Anyone who's seen any of the other Abbasid games that I've seen, this is the fastest I think I've seen it put in, and that's huge value for Abbasid. So even if you're not going for 2 TC, that's definitely what you want to be doing. And there was a villager, there we go. He wasn't just randomly pulled, he was just waiting for his backup. So now he's actually taking the very aggressive route there. And a tower going up. So you often see this in this matchup, towering the gold, so that that it's difficult for the Malian player to put more houses up. They can't put a mining camp down and start gathering up that gold either, and then you also can take some really nice favourable engagements. Whether we see Eric getting a bit of stone to upgrade it with some arrow slits just to make it that little bit more punchy, we'll have to wait and see. The Ecotech's coming in, Wheelbarrow coming in for Tent now, and he's going to be getting all of that passive gold. So at the moment, that pit giving him 87 a minute, which is the equivalent of about 2 villagers so far. We can also see a ram coming in, and as the Abbasid, this works really nicely because they don't need to get siege engineering because they have it as a civilization buff. So unlike others, they don't have to pay for it and they can just drop it as soon as they've got that wood. So as the tower and the ram are going down, we can see there's also a stables going down, so we're not going to be seeing 2 TC here. We're going to be seeing lots of aggression, which against the Malians I think is definitely the right play. So horsemen coming down, and we can see Donzos and Javs in queue. So the Donzos, if you haven't played with or against the Malians very much, the Donzos are pretty good spears, but they actually get to throw their spears. So once you've got a mass of them, you can actually snipe out horses from a distance, which is really dangerous. The Javelins are basically anti-archers. They have huge ranged armor. So they have 3 ranged armor and they do bonus damage against ranged units. So that's really, really powerful. So I personally, as a Byzantine player, I do actually really love the Javelins in the feudal age because they can do a huge amount of damage, and also they can run under TCs and take quite a lot of damage under there as well, against, and you know, start hitting those villagers. So that first pit going down, and so the gold is really going to take a hit, and we can see another tower coming up on this back gold denying that one. So this is really nice work here. These units coming over to try and put a stop to that. The scout is gonna see them, but are his units going to be in position? We can see a couple of horsemen, but those Donzos, there we go, targeting on that villager, and that tower is not going to be making it up. And so now the horsemen trying to get that villager from stopping putting those houses down. The longer these houses aren't built, the slower this is going to be. And with that first pit going down, that gold is going to basically be at 0. And from this spawn, there are really no other good positions. Actually, I think basically every other gold is either right next to Eric's base, or it's actually blocked by cliffs, or in a very unfavourable position. So this is actually, if he can keep putting pressure on, this is going to work really nicely now. So all those houses down, and this is also something Tent's going to have to be careful of now with all these houses being pushed, that he doesn't get housed as well, because they are a little bit cheaper, but they only give you 5 houses, so you have to be really careful that once someone takes those out, they don't they don't cap you while you're trying to produce defensive units. So we can see the ram coming in there, and I think he needs to run away, and all of the units, there we go, nice work. So you'll notice there they were all crawling along, and that was because they were all moving with the ram, and you always move at the speed of the slowest unit. So you definitely don't want to be moving away with that ram. You want to make sure all of your units are separate. We can see a ding over here, and the horse is coming in to idle that wood line. Really nice there from Eric to distract and annoy his opponent. We can see some units have gone into this tower, and that's going to be able to take out a couple of these units and do some real damage. So a nice little jump in there, a very good move. And there we go. This is actually something I think Tent's doing pretty well at the moment. You'll see a lot of Malian players won't actually go for this production and start making units early enough, and then when they're these get denied, they then don't have anything to defend. So actually delaying that Cal boom and trying to go for units now to defend when he can see the push that's coming in from Eric, I think is actually a really good move. And this military now from Tent is actually looking quite scary. It doesn't look like a lot, but the numbers are even, and basically both of these units hard counter everything Eric has. And one of them being a ram, that ram is not going to be doing anything at the moment unless it's sneaky and it's going to be sent, yeah, just as I thought, rallied all the way around, and it's going to be okay, it's going to be going back over to the base. Not sure why. I would have maybe sent it cheekily right around the edge of the map and over here, but all those villagers would have burned it down. So we can see now that Tent's going for a counter push to try and force Eric back into his base, and look at the damage these guys are going to do to these villagers. The javelin throwers are really, really strong. They have a really high base damage as well, so they're actually really, really good. If you think longbows are good, actually javelins just completely destroy them. It's amazing. As somebody who doesn't enjoy playing against the English, that's always my favourite. So The Donzos there being moved around, and they didn't quite catch those horses, but looking at the throw ability, there you go, you can see that they still caught them out. Getting caught under the TC there by 10, so he's going to lose a couple of those Donzos, so that's a nice little bit of damage there for Eric. So we can see both of those have gone down. Tent's actually managed to get 4 villagers down, and so this is actually going to be really nice for him. Once his eco starts popping off, then that passive gold is really going to start making a difference. So Eric's going to have to be really careful to make sure he doesn't take too much damage. He's been pushed off this gold. We can actually see that he's on stone. Some horses going in idling the economy there. Raids all over the place, and this little unit blob here is actually looking pretty scary now for Tent. So horses coming in to do a little raid on the gold mine there. Keep them off that and stop them getting up to that castle age eventually. Is he going to get the kill down there? Not sure just yet. Maybe one. There we go. The first one down. But idling this economy, you can see the cow boom going up. All of these ranches being filled with cows. And on the backside, we can see javelins coming up against archers. And this is now really not a good position for Eric. Look how quickly they shred through those archers. That's really quite scary. So now pushing him off the stone, and he doesn't have enough for that TC. It looks like he was going for a bit of a delayed TC in the back, and so really going around trying to get his archers onto those Donzos and trying to get his horsemen onto the javelins. And this is the danger with the Malians, that you have to make sure you're getting the right units, hitting the right units, otherwise basically everything you have melts. Even if you've got men-at-arms, a couple of Musafadi really do ruin your day. We can see, so a couple of horses idling the gold villagers there, actually doing quite a bit of damage to the houses, and we can see the archers trying to be micro, trying to get those Donzos out so then the horsemen can come in and do damage. So this is looking like it might be turning in Eric's favour. Once that Donzo's down, there we go. There's nothing now that's going to be able to put a stop to that. So that scout is not going to do it, and the horseman coming in there to clean up the javelins. So this is exactly what Eric needed to do, and now these units are not going to be making it back home, unfortunately, for Tent. If we take a little look at the eco, a lot on gold. There's none on food at the moment, so it looks like they have been idled up by these horsemen that are raiding. We can see orange units popping over and in small numbers, going back actually now to defend, and the horsemen going back in onto this gold mine. Another villager down. So these little pokes here are doing huge damage to Tent and getting huge value for Eric. He's really slowing down this cow boom. We've got three cattle ranches up so far, and all of this idle economy. So these guys are running around, but if you think that's 33 villagers not gathering, that's huge value. So this first pit actually still hasn't gone back up, so only one pit now for Tent, so his gold eco is going to be very, very slow compared to what it would normally be. And this is really the problem with this map for the Malians, that if you're really lucky with the spawn, you get a couple of safe golds in the back and you're absolutely laughing. If you don't, then you're in real trouble. For example, if we take a little look at Eric's side, if this were the other way round and he had these two here, then he could put the 2 pits here and he could just defend them all in one spot, and actually that would work really well. On the flip side, it would also be one place that Eric could target all of his attacks. So, it's, 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. It's all about how you play it, and that's exactly why I love this game. So looking at the military numbers now for Eric are looking super, super strong. We can see mass horsemen and archers, and we've got enough for a TC. We've gone past that 350 benchmark. We can see boot camp coming in, so it looks like he's planning on sticking for feudal for a little bit longer and getting all those military and eco techs in to keep a boost. We can see the horsemen coming in to do a huge amount of damage there on those villagers, idling them up. But we can see the cow boom is now in full effect. All of that beef is sitting there giving that passive income. And the archers coming in. There's a little notification, so we've got a nice cheeky raid from a horse on the top side, and this is definitely something that a lot of players, I think, wish they could do, is being able to raid with a couple of units just to distract the economy, because now if we see Tent's been forced out onto this deer pack as well to make sure his food eco keeps pumping, so if this gets caught, he's going to be in real trouble. And there's only 1 gold, so he's trying to defend it now with a tower. He's probably going to want to rush that up, because once these units get over, if they see that tower, they're going to come in and really punch him hard. in the face. So the archers and the horsemen coming in, look at that. Now this is where the Malians actually don't necessarily need as many villagers, so losing a couple isn't so bad once you're passively set up, but because he's only got one pit, his gold is not as strong as usual. And now we can see the second TC has gone up for Eric in a really nice position on the back. Some of these berries already taken, but he's securing gold, he's got some wood, and he's got some berries, so a really nice spot. Looking at this spawn while both players are massing up, here we go, Tent catching some of those reinforcements that are running across the base. This is where the rally points potentially are a little bit too close. Running those units individually through, he's just going to be able to take those out. Even with those lower numbers, he's going to be able to focus those down, and that's going to be huge damage against Eric. If we take a little look at the map, I don't think there really is a better position for that second TC from Eric's side, as Tent burns down that tower because he really wants to be getting his gold up on this one. We can see actually Tent has also jumped over to this gold over here, but there's no point putting a pit on it because unless you can get all of those houses around it, it's just not worth the investment, really. So all of these units being rallied across in front of Tent there, and we can see now that these numbers are starting to build for Tent with one horseman coming in. There we go, just a single unit coming in there and idling up all of that wood economy. All of these units taking out the second pit now, so no pits now for the Malians. This is really, really sad for them and really fantastic for Eric, so I think this is good. These horsemen, are they going to catch all those villagers? Are they going to see them as they're running away? There we go, they are, and they're going to sacrifice themselves. Even if they get caught now by those donzos, this is going to be really good damage, idling that food economy. And we can see units being attacked by wolves. We can see there's a ram being taken out over here, and there's a massive charge of the cavalry being chased around by the donzos. And we can see now that the villager numbers are starting to get ahead for Eric with that second TC. And it looks like he's going to be slowly making his way to the Castle Age. And this is also going to be quite dangerous. If Tent can get to the Castle Age, they get those cheaper and faster Castle Age techs as the Malians. And if he goes for the cow landmark, which I can never remember the name, the Falani Corral, is that the right one? Then that's going to mean his food eco is really going to start to go crazy. So some nice little defensive walls here for Eric. I think this is actually a really nice play. Blocking in those two deer packs is going to be huge food for him, and then he's already secured this backside of the map. No walls coming up yet, but we do see that he's prepared. Tent is prepared for his pit. Not actually put the pit down on this mine. I think maybe that's a slight misplay. If we take a little look, he does actually have the wood because they're only 150, but whether he needs to use that for his defensive units, I think that's really the idea here. So Tent being pushed off this gold, and now up to 9 villagers down for Tent, and that's going to mean that this villager lead is really going to start to go on. We've got the phalanx upgrade, making those spears have that 100% extra range, so they're going to be able to take out those cavalry units very, very easily. We've got the sofa, which are like sort of mini knights, heavy horses, however you want to describe them, and we can see now, wow, everyone says that on Cliffside it's very difficult to figure out how to wall, or you just do what Eric does and click the wall button and just drag it straight across the whole map and just hope all the resources are caught. Obviously here being just a little bit over and catching that wood mine, that gold mine, sorry, on the other side of the walls probably would have been better, but he has secured basically 4 or 5 of those gold mines already. One thing I also like to do is blocking the markets, but against the Malians, if he starts going trade, then he's just an absolute crazy man. So we can see the Grand Falani Corral going up there and going to be buffing up all of those passive cows. And if we take a look over at the eco now to see how they're doing, Eric has gone up for the eco wing, and I think this is actually a very good idea with the prolonged feudal. Once he gets his Fertile Crescent, it's going to mean that that allows him to do his farm transition much more easily. So we can see actually that we've still not got a pit on that mine over here, and still no pit back here. So this is where there's no passive gold as of yet, apart from the Mansa Quarry, of course. So both guys about to hit castle, 10 actually ahead, and if you see how quickly all of these techs are coming in for the castle age, they're going to do that, and then this means all of these units are going to be slightly less in number, but they're going to be much stronger than Eric, so he's going to have to be really careful to make sure he keeps these alive. But with those mass archers prepared, this is actually a really good position for him, because he is going to get those composite bows, and that means they're going to do a huge amount of damage. On the other hand, the javelins do still counter them, so he needs to be really careful that he's not getting caught out by those javelins, and has something to counter those units. The best thing to counter them, mangonels. The only thing that the Malians have that can not get killed by mangonels are the sofas, and if he's got enough spears, which he does, that will be able to put a stop to that. So siege against Malians is incredible. If you actually remember to build siege, which I do not, then you're okay. So we can see Ghulams coming in, and I think this is a really nice idea here from Eric, going for those Castle Age units so you don't have to wait just for those upgrades. The Sofa coming around to try and get some damage in now, now their techs are in, and we can see also that we've got the Camel Rider shields, so that's giving them that melee armor. So this is going to be able to debuff all of this cavalry, and look at the damage those spears are doing to those Sofas. Those guys are just melting, and once we see composite arrows coming in, even against these heavy units, those Sofas, look at them going down very quickly. The spears coming in, and because of that range, they're going to be able to hit them even through the archers, and they have been taken out. The walls still slowly going up for Eric, this guy diligently doing it. He's going to get my MVP of the match for just diligently working and walling off half of it. So you keep going, my friend, as we go back to the action. So we can see the mob of spears and archers coming in. There we go, composite bows, as I said, coming in. If we take a look at the eco, it's actually looking pretty good for Tent at the moment. So if we go into this, we can see now we've got the javelins. This is where it's got to be really important for Tent to micro. These javelins need to be target firing these archers to get them down, and once you've got enough javelins, you actually probably need to be putting them into two groups and target firing individually, because then they start overkilling those archers very heavily. So the Ghulams are going to be able to do damage, and the camels also need to be targeted by those ranged units, because they're going to be debuffing any cavalry there. But now there's no cavalry, I think you're not going to need a huge amount, and one knight in there is going to be able to do a huge amount of damage against those javelins. But this is where the Malian composition can do a huge amount if it's microed correctly. So looking at those numbers, still looking in Eric's favour, and actually now if we look at the food eco, so it looks like his villagers were moving around. He's actually almost got 2k food, which is absolutely insane, and he's also going up with his gold is getting even more. Tent has one relic in the bag, and I think this is something that Eric's going to have to be careful of. Also not rallying up in front of those javs, and we've got poison archers, guys. Yeah, boy! I absolutely love to see these poison archers. So they get 9 damage, and then they get the poison effect as well. So now this is going to be really scary. All of this infantry, these light infantry, are going to absolutely melt. So you can see that little purple effect on those lancers, and you can see their health just plummeting. Look at that, not even being attacked, and it's really going down very, very quickly. And this is where we're going to see a huge mass of these archers, so he's got to have something to fight them, which we need mangonels, guys. We need mangonels. We can see a couple of horses going in here. No pit on that, and so it looks like he's going for the no pit challenge now, because there's nowhere decent to put them. We can see a tower going up on the sacred site. Still no relics in for Eric yet. I don't think we have a mosque anywhere in the back, so we're not getting... Oh no, we do. We've got one in queue, so we're running to get them. If we take a look over at Tent's side, he's got one, and his imam is just chilling, looking awesome in the back. So definitely still no pits, and these walls very conservative here from Tent. He's being pushed, so that makes perfect sense, but he's now blocked himself off from all of this gold. So if Eric can keep him in his base, he's eventually going to run out, and he's basically got no passive gold there. So that's going to be really dangerous. The Sofa's taking out those couple of annoying horses in the back, and now it's forcing this fight into this main entrance. We can see a couple of Sofas on the back. Oh, so really nice little raid here from Tent. He's managed to get in before those walls come up, and being able to get a load of those villagers down. But that TC has been absolutely pumping, and we're at 55 against 80, and that's why the eco is really starting to pop off. And with all those upgrades and eco techs, oh no, are these idle villagers going to get caught as well? Please no. Oh no, they're all okay. So they're now pulling away 2 relics in hand for Eric, and hopefully it looks like his rally points have been changed. He's pulling all of his units back now, and they're all moving at siege speed. So and getting caught up in that door. Oh dear, this is where the wall is not working in your favour, and they're coming back round again. But the relic is coming through. There we go. So a little bit of congestion. I think maybe they need to look at the London congestion charge here to stop these mangonels from blocking all of these guys just trying to go on their travels. Looking at the numbers now, Tent's numbers looking very, very heavy. He's pumping really, really hard, and these sofas actually doing a huge amount. So we've got a couple of lancers and camels at the back, going to be able to take those out, but they've managed to really do a good amount of damage to Eric's eco there. So big fight coming up, mangonels coming in, and this is where if these mangonels can get a really decent hit on, they're going to be in trouble. The sofa's pulling around, they're going to try and circle around and try and get to the siege at the back. If they're smart, yep, there we go, pulling around the cliff. And where is his front line? Is he going to defend the siege? Or is the siege going to get taken out? Mango's going for the sofas, and I think they might not last. But are the Mango's going to get a hit on? Is it going to do enough damage? Oh, a pretty good hit there, and they're trying to keep them off the mangoes, but they are really going to go down very, very quickly there. So not doing the work, and those poison archers working overtime on those ghulams. So now the front line for Eric has gone down, and the sofas being slowly whittled by the archers, but they are definitely making a huge amount. So running these ghulams in, change your rally points, come on. This is the danger of putting really forward rally points, that those reinforcements are going to run straight into those units. So definitely pulling back and remassing now as Tent comes in for a push. We can see those poison archers really, really doing work. Musafadi coming in now. A couple of Jazz. He's switched out of the javelins now and into Musafadi poison archers, which I think is a really good play. That counters the lancers, it counters the ghulams, and there we go. Look, those guys coming in. One camel is definitely not going to last against those range units. And trying to poison that tower, not sure how effective that is, but the mangonel's definitely the right choice here, and another one coming up for Eric as we speak. So is he going to be able to do the damage? And is he going to be able to mass it up in time? So if we take a look, we actually do have a pit on the back now. No walls to secure it, and he's going heavy on the gold out here, and lots of defensive walls to try and force the fight into a more favourable position for Tent. So Mangonel coming in. Oh, huge hit there. Oh my god, that's amazing. One Mangonel still in construction, almost complete there, but another shot coming in and a few more down. An Imam down, 2 relics apiece. This is the last one, and those spearmen are going to have to be really careful, because those poison archers are not going to be friendly. So we definitely need some cavalry to take these out, which we can see in queue already. The sofa mass being built up here, and there we go, a couple of sofas raiding. Oh, this is really nice little bit of raiding here from Tent, taking out all those gold villagers while Eric is intent on defending against these poison archers as well. So the mangonel chasing them down, and are they going to get caught out again? Please no. Okay, pushing the sofas back there with the spears and the crossbows, so really nice work there. We can see some more units at the front, and now Tent's doing a really good job of taking map control back now. So Eric is forced back into his base. All of these units, are those sofas going to find all those villagers? They did notice them there. So 25 villagers, going to be a few more going down in a second. And we can see those poison archers. Oh, they've overextended and they got caught at the back of the base. So this is now really starting to go back into Eric's favour here. And the mangonel chasing them down. Don't worry, mate, you'll catch them. So the sofa's being caught out by the camels and by these archers and crossbows, so that guy is not going to last much longer as they try to take down the front. These villagers repairing the wall as best they can, but those sofas are going to burn it down any second now. So military numbers looking fairly even at the moment. Both players got all of their eco techs, and we just need to see, is Eric going to be able to pull his military into the right position before they do damage. These sofas not being as aggressive as I expected. I thought they might go through. Also, this little cheeky door this villager is working on, but the villagers going down around the TC. The mangonels are in, and they're in even against those heavy units, they do quite a lot of damage there. So this is where Tent's splitting his army. He's trying to distract Eric, but Eric is definitely whittling those down. Mangonel's getting all those archers right down, and the horses running in, but they're not going to get the mangonel down before another another big shot. Oh, nice work there. So the Sofa's running in on the back, doing nice raids and gotten caught out by all those archers. And we can see another mangonel shot, huge shot there. And these guys you can see getting healed up there, 2 full mangonels just hitting all those corpses just to make sure they know that they are down. The equivalent of the FPS teabag there from the mangonels. And so now double the military, and with the eco it's really starting to pop off. We can check now that he's got all of his techs nice from both of his wings, and so these farms are going to be even cheaper. If we check over on this side, they're now 53 wood, so that's going to be allowing him to do a really nice little farm transition. We can see actually he did secure that gold in the end, and this season at the moment, be careful guys that some of the walls are not actually matching up to resources, so you may actually inadvertently have a door. So when you build your walls, just double check them just to make sure they're in the right position. Just something I've been noticing, which hopefully will be patched ever so soon. We've got the imam in the back keeping them alive, the mangonels going for the sofas because obviously, you know, that's what you do. And we can see there we go. So we can see the poison everywhere, and these guys. So the purple on the sofas is the debuff from the camels, the purple on Eric's units is the poison archers. There's buffs and colours and glows everywhere, and I absolutely love it. So now huge amount of production on this top side. If we bring the interface back in, we can see these units, and Tent doing a great job of massing up now. So his reinforcements, oh no, these spears are going to get caught out again. Those guys are definitely not going to last much longer, but taking out the production I think is going to be a really good idea for Eric now to really stop these reinforcements coming in. So, and there we go. So are they going to turn around? Are the mangonels going to catch them? So all the sofas now debuffed, but the mangonels on the back, are they going to get caught out again? Are the units, are they going to be able to defend the mangonels getting caught in the blob? One is about to go down, and they've just about managed to make it through the swarm. And so are they going to get a big shot off? Come on guys. Are the archers going to get caught? And oof, huge shot there. And the Musafadi running round the back, and these guys are weak to ranged, so these ranged units will be able to take them out, especially with those composite bows. And the mangonels just need to turn around. They're getting another big shot off onto units that are already down, but looking, these Musafadi are going down very, very quickly against those composite bows, and Tent calls it. A couple of huge mango shots and that big final fight at the end, enough for Tent to say, that's it. And here we are then back just before GG was called to take a look at the final state of play and how both of these guys tackled the matchup while the mangonels are getting caught again in the traffic jam. So let's zoom out there, pull the interface up and give it a little pause. So we spent a lot of time in both bases this time. So let's take a look at Eric's setup. So he's got all of his farms set up over in the corner over here, nicely done. He had the weak eco wing and all of his techs, so these are a lot cheaper, and that's why his food economy is doing very, very nicely there. He managed to get 3 of the 5 relics, so his gold economy is very, very good, and we can see also because of that second TC, his villager lead was really good. But Tent did a huge job very close to the end there of taking out a huge number of villagers. So this TC actually now has just kept the numbers equal, but when we look at the economy, it's definitely still paying off at this stage. Obviously, I mentioned the walling that Eric did earlier. I think these first walls over here were really nice, and he did notice the little door that he'd made, or he was about to make on the front, so walling that off there nicely worked well. Going straight across is the very easy way. I think also, once this mine was secured, just a little short wall between these two to stop Tent going back on there, or at least delaying him, would have been really nice. But yeah, one thing I will mention is that I've noticed in my games, this wall will not actually stop them. So obviously Eric saw that and he put another wall there to make sure it was covered off. And I think actually just that little wall there would have been even better from the beginning. But securing up all of that golden food really did very nicely. Tent ended up going a bit more defensive with his walls. These first walls coming down here to stop Eric circling around, and then just a little wall over here. But the problem with Cliffside is there's still a door here, so these villagers are not safe, and it looks like Eric is starting to build the little onion walls out slowly, capturing all those resources and blocking him in. These defensive walls, I'm not so sure exactly what they're doing necessarily. Obviously, they're stopping the raids, which Eric did fantastically. Lots of horseman raids on the back, keeping those pits down. And this definitely hurt Tent's economy massively because he wasn't able to have his pits up for ages. And even now, he's got one here. But if we take a little look, there's actually only one pit that's up. So that's definitely worked in his favour. Although he's still doing very well for gold, even considering that. So personally, if I were Tent, if I wanted to, I think this wall here to stop circling around works well. I would have actually just chucked it straight across, either straight across here, or I would have gone up and around the market and then got this boar as well. Because this deer camp actually is not secure, because all it would take is some units coming through one of these gates from the top side, and they'd be able to put a stop to that very, very easily. And there's and also this wall isn't even closed off because the wood's been cut through. So I think the walling there from Tent, if it had gone straight across, could have been better and would have secured much more room at the back if he eventually needed to go for farms. But with that cow boom, you don't normally have to see that as the Malians. If we take a look at the composition, I think the switches during the game worked really well. Those poison archers doing a huge amount of damage. One thing I noticed from Eric's side is a lot of his reinforcements and his rally points seem to be over on this bottom side here. So a lot of his reinforcements were basically just running straight into the base. So if we take a little look, they've all been moved now. They're over with the blob. But that's something to be very careful of, that like these guys, if your reinforcements are running out like that, these 4 units are not going to be able to take on this 50 strong mass here. So just being careful of that. I think Eric took a lot of damage there. He also took a lot of damage from those sofas running around his base. So making sure that those are secure and defendable, I think, works. Especially on this back TC, a lot of villagers were taken out over here. But overall, I think going for heavy mangonels from Eric was really good. The little switch around that Tent did, where it was on this front side and he brought the sofas around and into them, worked fantastically well and took both of those mangonels out before they were able to do huge damage. But that last fight that Tent took in this base here and lost his archer mass definitely really made the difference, and now having his production under siege is also quite dangerous. I think putting all your production right at the front here is actually quite risky, especially now because it's all going to get torched down very easily. When you do have this huge amount of space at the back, this would probably be, or even over here, would be a much better position. Like with your relics, you don't want them at the front, so this can be torched down quickly. Putting them at the back potentially could have been a bit better and given him a little bit more time to defend. But once all those Musafadi run around here in a second and get taken out by these guys, it's only a matter of time before the archers get taken out by the mangonels. But really action-packed, a real nail-biter, the sort of game that I absolutely love to watch and love to cast. And I hope you've enjoyed this Abbasid Malian showdown, and we're going to go back in to watch these guys torching as I say goodbye. So enjoy what you're doing today. Remember to comment on the video and let me know your details so I can cast your games, and I'll see you next time for some more Age of Empires action.